All righty, we're live. Hi, everybody.
Here we are. You cracked me up. Hi. Oh, there we go. Shanna Cluley's live, and we all are.
Yay. Yeah. All right. It's Shanna.
And Jill.
And the artist formerly known as Clayton Thomas.
There you go.
I like it.
And once again, we are the Detox Girls. So happy to have Clayton Thomas here with us, as always, founder of Root.
This is going to be my favorite subject to talk about.
I think so.
Women.
Yes. and their greatness. And if they're not already great, how we can make them greater.
That's right.
Yes.
I love it. Yes. So today we are on women's health and wellness and amazingness, because it's not just about wellness. I'm learning so much from Clayton every week.
Yes.
It's not just about wellness. So I am going to real quick start with the medical disclaimer. So this information is provided for educational purposes, knowledge, information. Come on, Clayton. Entertainment purposes.
I'm letting you finish because I'm pulling up some stuff.
Okay. All right. For entertainment purposes, we are not here for medical advice. We are not a substitute for your physician. If you have any questions, medical questions, please contact your physician for any concerns. We're not here to diagnose or treat you. We are just here to entertain you.
Because here's the bottom line. You don't have a medical condition. You don't have a disease. And it's so important in this conversation because who is diagnosed with more stuff? Because we're talking about ladies and we're talking for the ladies today, I'm going to control my language. But I will enunciate. But you are diagnosed with so much stuff, right? There are specific things that are highly prevalent in women now. Fibro, chronic fatigue. These things didn't exist, right? So you have to understand that there's no such thing as a disease, as a syndrome, or a disorder. You have none of those. They don't exist. Just like in the Matrix, there is no spoon. All you have is a cause and a problem that creates symptoms that you're given a title to so you can be drugged. But if you're a woman and you're watching this, you know that being drugged is never a good thing, because if you go out on a date when you're younger, the last thing you want to do is be drugged. You don't want to be drugged when you're older either.
Right.
So there we go.
I'm going to bounce right off of that because we had to talk about what do we want to talk about when it comes to women's health? Well, here's the problem. We need to talk about puberty and the state of the world that puberty is starting in. Really? 11 years old, sometimes younger? Thyroid problems that cause a multitude of things that Clayton just touched upon, PCOS and infertility. So infertility falls under that. Ovarian cysts, fibroids, all the way up to menopause and osteoporosis. And in the words of Clayton Thomas, this just in, all of them have the exact same underlying problem.
Etiology. The freaking cause is the same thing. And I was just talking with one of my buddies earlier. We'll dive a little deeper. If you're a woman and you want to have kids today, you get tested for something very specific, and especially if you're well-aged and looking to have children. You're tested for Down syndrome, right? You want to make sure that your child can't have Down syndrome. And if you have a little more melanin, which is the only differentiating factor, because I'm Black Irish and my ancestors had a little more sun exposure than I get to have, you're also testing for sickle cell trait. We don't do it if you're lighter like me, but if you have more melanin, you actually test for sickle cell trait because these are big concerns for parents.
My daughter had to test for that when she went into college as an athlete.
And do you know that it all comes back to the same thing? So we'll have some fun. So proceed.
Okay. Shanna, do you want to start? You want me to start?
You can go. You're doing good. You're on a roll.
Okay. So I think I would just like to start in order I would like to start with the state of the world that we're in, where puberty is starting so early. And I don't know, and maybe somebody can comment below if anybody has a little bit of knowledge on this, but I'm hearing some things about extremely young elementary school children, not even 11. But puberty is starting way too early. And this comes from toxicity, right? So this comes from all of the pesticides, the glyphosate, the herbicides, the antibiotics that not only that are being given at the doctors every, 6 to 8 weeks from birth, but also what we're finding in our foods. We have, we're eating meat, which is fine. I'm a meat eater. I love to eat meat. I know you guys too. So it's not the meat, it's the sourcing of the meat. It's what the animals are eating. So that comes down to beef, chicken, even eggs. What are these animals being fed? Are they getting sunlight? Are they being fed antibiotics? Are they, one of the things I put in the group this morning is about estrogen mimicking. So we're gonna touch on that too. What is it? What are we putting into our bodies that are making our bodies think they have a higher amount of estrogen, and it's affecting the hormone receptors and the cells and toxicity, and I mean it just a multitude of things.
Yep.
Whew. Breath.
Yeah.
Well,
That was good.
What you just hit on is something that is going to apply to the later conversation when it comes to women of an older age that get to menopause. Now, here's the question, though, for the ladies. Does menopause start later on in life, or does it start when you get married?
And why is women's health come down to menopause and men in the same position are andropause? I would like to know who named those.
It's not womenopause.
No. But why is it menopause? Okay. So should we just dive right in and say the basis for all of this is toxicity? Our bodies are polluted. We are exposed to toxicity from conception. And one of the things that I've been reading about, and it has been said over and over, and it's so important for moms, people that are going to become moms, cord blood. Cord blood is touted to be this, all natural, cleanest, the best blood that you could give. Let's freeze it. Over 200 pollutants in it.
Yep.
So this just tells you this tells you what our kids are being exposed to in the womb and being born with. Yep. So we have kids that their toxic load is already overflowing in their bucket from the day they were born.
Yep.
Some of us know some kids like that.
Yep.
And didn't understand that until,
Yep.
So we're here to alert you to that too, because you need to know from preconception all the way up to menopause that the basis, the etiology of all of this is toxicity. If you want to know why your thyroid doesn't work, why your endocrine system doesn't work, it all comes back to the same thing. Yes.
Can I go even a little bit past that and start with conception and preconception with not only birth control, but also the birth cups that people use that they put up inside of themselves, to condoms and all of that. Those copper IUD, that was my issue. There's just so much that goes into preconception that you are using to not conceive, and then whenever you conceive, that toxicity is passed on to your child. And that's what people don't think, because a lot of those plastics and the petroleum products and everything that are used, that actually is an endocrine disruptor. That is a substitute for your estrogen. And people don't understand that. So it goes beyond just, okay, I'm pregnant, how do I stay healthy, or how do I get my baby healthy after the baby is born? What do I do and not do? It has to start way before that. And if you've already done that, that's okay. There's always a starting place. But for those of you who are either thinking about having children or haven't yet, or teenagers, you have young children yourself, now is the time to start thinking about it, to prepare almost like a guide for yourself. What I did is I wrote things down for so that I would always remember situations where it may come up with my daughter and things like that for whenever she got older.
And glyphosate and tampons.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, and not just those. Your shampoos, your conditioners, your makeup, I mean, it's all of it. It's everything you use around your body. It's the water you drink. It's the soaps that you use. It's the perfume, the lotions, all of it. They're all endocrine disruptors, and they're toxic in some form. Not all of it. There are better options out there. And even if if it's not perfect, any change you can make. We just went shopping this morning, and I was really proud of my daughter. She picked up and she goes, "Hey, this is the shampoo and soap I've been buying. What do you think?" And I looked at it, I'm like, great. I mean, is it 100%? No, probably not. But she's looking for it. And trust me, when these companies want to charge you more money, because it is a little more money, but it's worth it to me, they list it right on the label. No sulfates, no parabens, no phytate. It's there. It's there.
Yep.
So we're already getting some questions. Hi, everybody. I'm so
Hello.
excited. Everybody's already on here. Yes, even so, Jenna, yes, the answer to that is all of it. So any of the tampons and the pads, they're full of bleach. They bleach them, and they supposedly clean them, and they do sell organic.
Yeah. Well, what happens with the glyphosate with those, since we're talking about tampons and pads and everything, what happens with the glyphosate is it's actually sewn into the structural component, the proteins and the DNA of the cotton itself.
Right.
So you can't get it out. It's actually in there.
Right.
So whenever you put that, that's going into your body no matter what. So that's why we say that, and they can bleach it and everything, and it really doesn't.
Right. Okay, good. Okay. So moving on to, so let's just talk about the middle of the road, sort of thyroid problems. So hypothyroid, hyperthyroid, Hashimoto's, Graves, again, PCOS and infertility. And again, these all come back to the same etiology. So now we're in our 20s, 30s, 40s, and our toxic load is now the buildup of all of those years. So we have kids that have a higher toxic load, which is why they're getting their periods at 11 years old. And there's some of us in our age frame that we escaped some of the reason behind that. We had a much smaller amount on our list of things that we had to get at the doctors in our arms. And now these kids are getting antibiotics every 8 weeks because they have ear infections. And instead of understanding that the gut microbiome is destroyed, now we're going to destroy it more, because this is a terrifying fact. Every round of antibiotics takes 8 to 12 months to restore your microbiome.
Well,
at least if you do it right.
If you're not taking care of yourself, and if you're, go ahead, Clayton.
I was going to say, used to.
Correct. There are ways, right?
School approach and be like, oh, I'm not going to do anything, and I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to pray for recovery. Then yes,
right.
But and what's really important for everyone to understand. I was actually having this conversation with someone yesterday, who was a woman, because it was an intelligent conversation. If it was a guy, it would have been a short conversation. But
that's true.
The question was posed of, if you have a primary cause, and I'm going to stick with a one-word answer.
Okay.
And that is mercury.
Yes.
And the reason I'm going to stick with a one-word answer is because it is the worst of all of them. And it is the one that exacerbates, there's a long word, that exacerbates the issues of every other one of them, because mercury actually magnifies the toxicity of other metals. And we'll get into lead, we'll get into arsenic, we'll get into cadmium, which are hormone mimetic, as well as aluminum, as is mercury. But what's important to understand is that mercury and other heavy metals will affect each one of us differently. and I did my little 8-minute skinny jeans presentation on the Trinity and touching on issues. I apologize for doing it in skinny jeans.
But that's actually my favorite YouTube.
But it's important to understand that while each of us is the same or are the same, I don't care what color you are, how you identify yourself, where you come from, what you look like. We all suffer from the same condition. Well, that's not entirely true anymore, but we're all human, if we're human, right? But what's so important to understand, and I'm going to hit on the 2 sex aspects of this, that these metals, these toxins, the atrazine, the glyphosate, the hormone mimetics, these other toxins, pollutants, chemicals, they are all the cause, but they affect each one of us differently. So when we look at mercury, the difference between a guy and a woman is quite unique. So if you look at boys, right, we talk about gestational issues. If you have a boy with mercury, you have a higher risk of autism, ADD, ADHD, Asperger's, right? And if you look at the comparison, if you have friends around you that have kids that are in the spectrum, right? I hate that freaking terminology, but if you're in the spectrum, mostly boys. Why? Because mercury in boys goes to the brain and central nervous system, but in girls, it loves your endocrine and reproductive systems. So why is that important? Thyroid and reproductive system, ovaries and such. So you go, like for my daughter hit puberty 11, 12. She had double D's at the age of 12.
Yep.
You talk about a horrific moment for a dad.
Right. But also unheard of back when I was 12.
When I was growing up, and this is what I have a problem with my kids. I was talking about this with my 22-year-old about dating and girls. I'm like, he's like, do you know how many girls I've been with? You know, I'm 22 years old. I'm like, yeah, you've been around girls that look like they're 25 since you were 13.
Right.
When I was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, girls looked like a chalkboard.
Yeah.
As they were supposed to. But it gets into a much bigger issue of what's going on in this world, what's been going on in this world, and really bad people, why they would want really young girls to look like they're older. Satanic pedophilia bastards. But it's
true.
It's all in this design of polluting us. You can go pineal gland and everything in between. This is the cause. And then as we go over time, you'll see how this plays out in different aspects. So since this is Women's Day and we have this amazing sandwich of greatness, I get to sit in the middle this time.
I love it. Okay. So I was just going through, I just want to point out a couple of the comments that we've had so far, and really good points about lead in toys, heavy metals, fire retardants, so kids' pajamas. These are all this is great. I love that people are popping in and saying all of these different toxins that we have to make sure that we're touching on, because not everybody is realizing, right? The plastic that your kid's high chair uses, the mattress that they're sleeping on, which these are just things to consider how we can make them better, and also how we need to support their toxicity. So we don't think of babies as, are they toxic? Yes. Unfortunately, we live in a world where everything we put them near is toxic. And so we have to do our best to lower that load for them.
And to hit on 2 things, because Jenna made a comment, which I'll hit on, but this is such moms, because I think the majority of people here, I see like maybe a guy on there, but the majority of people watching this are women.
Right.
So moms, your mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother polluted you. You polluted your baby. Not your fault.
Right.
Your fault. It's biology.
Right.
It just is the process. I'm the oldest in my family, right? I have 2 brothers and sisters. My mom miscarried before I was born. My brother didn't make it. So I'm the oldest because he was too toxic to make it.
Yep.
Doesn't make me clean. I will tell you, they said I was jacked up as a kid. I was diagnosed as ADD. Who knew? I wasn't medicated because of where I grew up. Growing up in a veterinary practice, my mom's like, no, he's not getting medicated. He's going to be busy. So I played three sports constantly, and I was active. And this is the key thing for kids today. It's activity. We've got so much energy. We have the amazing Tilly dog, right? I have a 4-month-old puppy that is extremely active. Do you know what happens when I don't exercise her? She's a freaking terror. Our kids are no different. We need activity. We are creating a massive amount of energy, and we need a way to expel it.
Right.
Get outside. Go be active. This is the same thing as this. We need activity. We need to be doing things, right? So, but what, well, now Michelle is responding to it as well. And Jenna hit on amalgam fillings. The likely scenario is if you have them, don't remove them. I still have all of mine. I've been doing this process for detoxification for 16 years. I have not removed my amalgams because of what I'm able to do, but also, well, 2 other reasons. 1, to prove a point that you can do this and not hurt yourself. 2, the risk of removing those amalgam fillings is greater than leaving them in and doing things properly to remove the off-gassing mercury without affecting the structure of those amalgams. Like my dentist and very good friend, Dr. Dennis Wells, who's here in Brentwood, Tennessee, that if you see celebrities with amazing smiles, the majority of those are his or his 2 other colleagues, because he's one of the top 3 guys in the country when it comes to aesthetic dentistry. But when I went to go see him for my checkup, he's like, dude, your teeth structure, your teeth are so healthy and your amalgams are actually in place really, really well. I'm like, yeah, I know why that is. So it's a matter of not being aggressive. If you have amalgam fillings and they're off-gassing mercury, and if you have amalgam fillings, which are silver fillings, they're not silver, they're actually 52% mercury, which makes them mercury fillings that are amalgam. But you can make sure that you're taking care of that with this. We'll make sure we face it properly. We'll do a little clean slate plug. But you don't have to worry about the structure. What you need to make sure is that you're taking care of what's off-gassing. Now, if you've had root canals and everything, you probably have mercury deeper in your teeth, which greater need for clean slate because of the root structure, right? The nervous structure of your teeth to your roots to your nerves go from here to here. They go.
Right.
So it's one of the biggest reasons they put freaking mercury in your teeth in the first place, because it's neurotoxic. In which profession has the highest rates of suicide and the highest rates of mercury toxicity? Dentists.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So some people say it starts in your mouth. Some of that is very, very true. But it starts in mom, starts in the womb, and then we're exposed from breast milk and everything since.
Yep. Well, and we can go back to the gut microbiome. Your mouth has an oral microbiome, and whenever you have all of that toxicity in your mouth, you're breaking down the enzymes that start off with your food so that you get the nutrients itself, the lipase and everything in your mouth starts with your chewing. And if you don't have a good oral microbiome, you're not going to have a good gut microbiome. Your food's not going to break down appropriately. You're not going to get the nutrients out. So it's very, very important to start with the mouth, because that's where everything starts.
And what you'll hear many really good practitioners tell you is if you have a leaky gut, you have a leaky brain.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So it's putting all of those components together. And here's the beautiful crux of it. If you're watching this and you're like, well, this is really complex. Yes. Here's how you make it simple. All of these issues, one cause. And here's what's great. If you're talking to your friends, you're talking to your family and go, hey, I learned something today. Or if you're out in public and you're having an argument with someone about talking about their diagnosis and you want to say, look, this is absolute utter BS. See how I'm containing myself today?
You do so good.
That fact check me. Go on PubMed. Fact check it. Pick a diagnosis and add mercury and do that. Fibromyalgia and mercury.
Right.
Autism and mercury. Hyperthyroidism. Hypogonadism. Down syndrome. Sickle cell anemia.
I'll do it for them.
Hypertension.
I'm going to do it for them. I'm going to relocate something that I just watched in the last day or two from Dr. Dory, where there are pages upon pages. She has already done the work. You can just scroll through her YouTube and see how many. I think there were 3.5 pages of mercury and
autism.
Autism. I think that was the one it was. Yes, yeah, because it was the first. So autism. Yeah.
I'm trying to pull up the compendium on my other computer as we do this. So I'll find it and I'm going to send it to you guys so you can. I'm not sure if we can post it on a group chat. You guys will be able to do that because I think you can put files right in your group. So you'll be able to put the file, and it's 234 pages. And this is an initial compendium. This is nowhere near done.
Right.
But first, I think it's the first 34 pages are the important part, because what she did is she took some of the subjects and then just compiled a lot of the clinical research that shows that heavy metals are the cause of said subject, from autism to cancer to cardiovascular disease to COPD to thyroid issues to stem cells. Ooh, stem cells, popular subject. You know what problem is with stem cells? It's not that your body produces them. It's that they're freaking damaged because you're toxic. And guess what? If you want to go get stem cell therapy and you don't take care of the mercury and other metals in your body, you're putting cells that can become any cell into a polluted environment, which they're going to be damaged, which can lead them to become damaged cells.
Healthy cells make healthy cells. Sick cells make sick cells.
Oh, you know what sick cells become? Cancer.
Yes.
Right.
And that's something I'd like to hit on. That's why a lot of men talking, I know this is for women, but a lot of men, you have prostate issues and everything. Prostate issues are caused by acidosis. Acidosis is just the body encapsulating the toxic metals that heat up and cause your blood to be acid and everything. They encapsulate it in an extracellular matrix, and they create tumors as a way to protect your body from those toxins. Same with different uterine cancers and renal cancer and all kinds of stuff. I mean, that's what it is. So then you get it cut out. You're cutting open that sac of fluid and extracellular matrix and acid that then poisons the rest of your body.
What? Are you saying that a toxic body tries to protect itself, and once you're so polluted, it's going to create an additional receptacle if your fat cells are full of toxins already?
Yep. Because that's what happens. It stores it in your fat to protect you. And then once those are all taken up, that's what it does. So,
right.
Are you saying that if someone was doing the keto diet, or if they were doing things to lose a lot of weight quickly, that they're going to release a lot of toxins into their system because they were stored in fat, and the toxins eventually are going to need to go somewhere? So you're going to put fat back on, or those toxins are going to go to organs or joints or areas where they might lead to a diagnosis of something else, maybe rheumatoid arthritis or MS or neurological conditions or obesity or high cholesterol or fatty liver. Oh.
Who knew?
It all comes together.
It does. It all comes together. And I think we're just going to go right back to the very beginning when we said it doesn't matter if we're talking about puberty, infertility, menopause. It doesn't matter. Clayton is right. It's The diagnosis is just a label, and you are not your diagnosis. I just posted that on my page the other day. You are not your diagnosis.
So Michelle just made a post about looking at doing stem cell therapy for alopecia. So I just gave her a report of just one study that shows that alopecia is caused by high mercury levels in the blood.
Right.
Little things.
Yep.
No, it's not us saying it. It's the published data, clinical data going alopecia and mercury. My aunt has alopecia, really, really bad. She has no eyebrows, no hair, can't have kids. They have a lot of money because, I mean, she has this amazing dressage facility that she built at their retirement home in Eastern Washington because they don't have kids. Do you know how much money you can accumulate if you don't have kids?
Yes.
Freaking crazy.
Yes. And do you know how much money you have when your kids are older and they move out?
It is the best retirement. Do you know why gays have so much money? Because they can't have kids. It is the greatest retirement plan ever. Don't breed. But there's so many advantages to having kids, like gray hair, obesity, stress,
wrinkles.
Seriously.
I spent $500 at the grocery store yesterday, and I know it's going to be gone in a matter of maybe 9 days. Ridiculous.
My amazing wife will spend $500 at the grocery store on stuff we already have.
Yeah.
I wait until our fridge is empty and then I go because it makes the kids eat the stuff they really don't want.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But going back to the endocrine system, the reason it hits the endocrine system so hard is because it is the most susceptible. It's the most vulnerable of the glands and the systems in the body. So like iodine, a lot of people take iodine and they get iodine toxicity because they join all these iodine groups and everything. The body will absorb mercury and then you're taking iodine and then you're getting iodine toxic because the thyroid can't absorb the iodine because it has too much mercury.
Right. Now that you said that, okay, so I knew there was something that was going to lead me on. So also, I'm gonna move up to the menopause situation real quick. Lead is known to be in the bone, so the bone collects lead, and then as you get towards menopause age, the lead leaches into the bloodstream, right? So now you're high lead toxicity, and you have brittle bones.
But also, what is lead? Lead is hormone mimetic.
Oh, right.
So it blocks estrogen binding sites, which leads to extra estrogen building up in the bloodstream, which means what? You become hormonal.
Right.
Yep.
Lead is also a neurotoxin. So where is some of the lead going to go? Your brain. What does that cause? Brain fog. Okay, so you have brain fog, you're hormonal, and you have brittle bones. Welcome to being menopausal, yet all you are is lead toxic.
Right. Mm-hmm. Do you know people laugh at me because I'm in that age bracket where people are starting to talk about it? And my literal answer is, I'm not doing that. And everybody looks at me and like, what do you mean you're not doing that? That's the natural state of the world. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
No, it's not natural.
It's not natural. And I refuse to do it. I'm not doing it. We can go birthday to birthday if you want. Everybody wants to check in with me on every one of my birthdays coming up, I'm not doing it. So there.
Hey, ladies. Hey, ladies.
I love you, Joe.
Just in. Your sex drive doesn't go down as you get older. It gets better if it's done right. Trust me.
Well, that's one thing that toxins do is they lower your DHEA.
Yes.
They lower your sex drive and everything so that you don't feel the want to, and then it interferes with your marriage because men are very driven by that just because that's who they are. Mm-hmm. And that's great. And whenever you can't, it interferes with your marriage. So removing the toxins is going to help with that drive as well.
But let's hit on one important component here because we can talk about toxins, but for the ladies, when it comes to having sex and I will say making love, because there is a difference between the two and both of them are amazing. They should be done often. I'm not a doctor, but I'm giving you a recommendation. Better when it comes to this subject. But you have to be in the mood, right? Women have to be in the mood. Guys, we don't care. We're a pump. Women, big bundle of copper wire. So how do you go over this? Dopamine and serotonin.
Right.
Yep.
Ladies, here's a little thing for you. Zero in is your best friend, and you're not using it properly yet. So when you know it's important to have some quality time, take 2 in the afternoon. Watch what happens later on. Because the beautiful part with adaptogenic approaches to neurotransmission, if you want to be in the mood, but you're just like, it's been a tough day, I've got all this stress, I'm dealing with kids, I'm dealing with my husband, I'm cooking dinner, I'm doing all these things, man. And then you get stressed out when it comes time for fun time, and your husband's got fun tickets that he wants to cash in, and you're going, nope, sorry, bank's closed today because I was overwhelmed. Nope, you can open up the bank, you go, oh, wait a minute, it's time to have some fun. And you're in the right mood.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
because your body was created to do that. We were created for that, for one another. And you will have it whenever it's done right.
And I will tell you, it leads to good times.
I'm just going to say this. So we're going to have an insurgence of new babies in our community. So everybody, as you go on and you're doing all of this that we're talking about, you start using clean slate and zero in. Shanna, Jill, or Clayton are fabulous middle names for your babies to remember all of us for helping. I'm just kidding.
I love it.
Or Christina, not Clayton, Christina.
If we have a bunch of kids with the middle name of Rom.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And we would love some updates. And when that starts happening, we'll take some updates.
Yep.
Yes.
I guess I need to keep that in mind when I say that I'm refusing menopause, right?
Yeah.
My kids are grown. Can we just stay that way? I'm ready for grandkids, not babies.
There are times that are completely, ladies, there are times that are completely inappropriate to use my name. And it goes back to what we were just talking about. When it's time for fun tickets, don't say my name. Please don't say my name.
This is hilarious. Okay.
I love it. Okay.
You know what? That actually reminds me, because I did have somebody that I was talking to the other day, and she just found out that she's having a baby. And maybe, Clayton, you can talk on this. She just found out she's having a baby. And last year, she was very, very sick with some of the symptoms that we've been talking about, which we all know and everything. But she's very concerned about her pregnancy. And we all know that whenever you're pregnant, your body naturally detoxes. That's why you feel good. Most women feel good, other than morning sickness and stuff. I'm talking about just feeling good whenever they're pregnant, is because your body detoxes, and that goes into the baby. So maybe, Clayton, you can hit on this. That's another reason why start before, but even if you are pregnant, it's so important to get those toxins out so that they don't go into the baby. Because I know a lot of people say, oh, doctors say don't detox when you're pregnant and stuff like that. So can you hit on that a little bit?
Yeah, doctors say don't do the traditional methods. Don't do EDTA, DMPS,
Right.
DMSA, cilantro, chlorella. We can throw other supplements. Some of them are claimed to be zeolite derived. Some of them are zeolite derived. You shouldn't do those things because they mobilize. And this is what's crucial, is they don't just bind some, they mobilize a lot of metals and other toxins which will go into the womb. What makes Clean Slate so special is its ability to trap and bind and remove, but also I will say even more importantly, deliver the orthosilicic acid, the bioavailable silica, the silicon dioxide that's on the label for Clean Slate, because you don't see clinoptilolite, you see silicon dioxide. You know what bioavailable silica is? Or orthosilicic acid, because that's what we're really creating. And orthosilicic acid is nature's most bioavailable source of silica. What is silica? Well, take a step back. We have a problem in this world right now with computer chips because of what's going on in the world. What is the makeup of computer chips? Silicon, right? Can't get enough of it. What's the primary building block for the human body? Because we're a big biological computer, right? It's bioavailable silica. We're no different. We are just a biomechanical expression of the same issue. So you need bioavailable silica. You want more collagen? Don't supplement with a bunch of collagen. Get the silica, because the other key building blocks, the amino acids that you need, you get in your diet. You get in meat, you get in veggies. So you get those additional components, but you need the bioavailable silica. If you're adding that silica to your body and you're putting that in your baby, what is that going to lead to? It's going to lead to improved fetal development. And what we've seen with root babies is they're healthier, they're bigger, they're more alert, they're more aware, they're stronger when they come out. And while they're on Clean Slate, usually like a drop on the nipple, as mom is also doing hers to clean herself up, you put a drop on the nipple, or you give it to the baby direct. They get a drop once or twice a day. You want an amazing baby? You want a baby that is functional to a level that your doctor will go, I don't know what's happening in this kid, because we've got it, we've seen it. And if you want a phenomenal example in conversation, watch the NAFLD, the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease case study that's on the YouTube channel. The first 10 to 15 minutes is going over that case study. The last half is talking about root babies, on how amazing they are, from moms that were using Clean Slate during gestation and now have Clean Slate babies that are breastfeeding and that are functional beyond your belief.
Yep.
It's crucial.
Yes.
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, so I just wanted to check on our questions here real quick. Denise.
Michelle's going to come visit. She said she's in Brentwood, or she's in Franklin. Michelle, we're in Brentwood. Anybody, you want to come to Nashville anyway. Since we're talking to the ladies, hey, ladies, you know Nashville's #1 place in the country for bachelorette parties. You want to know how crazy it is here for the ladies? On the weekends from Thursday to Sunday, there are seven women for every guy. So, ladies,
my son's not coming to Nashville.
No.
You can come have fun. You don't have to worry about a bunch of guys, because all of the guys here are trying to play a guitar and sing to you.
Right.
That's it. And they're here to buy you drinks because they think it still works. It doesn't. You get to drink for free. It's amazing. But Jill, send your son. He'll have no problem meeting hot women here.
No, we're good, thank you.
Oh, yes.
No, we're good, thank you.
Oh, yes.
No, and I know.
I think we just ticked off Tennessee State for basketball off the list.
Oh, no. Here's what I will guarantee you. If he comes to play at Tennessee State or at Vanderbilt, he will stay for 4 years. I guarantee it, because the talent pool is so rich here. You don't want to leave.
I'm thinking I'm going to keep him over here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
I also want to put in, I just remembered, just really quick, this also goes for, I just want to touch really, really fast because I know Clayton has to go, because after this, everybody, we're doing product question and answer with Clayton. So there's a link in the comments. So go there afterwards, ask him any questions you want about any of the products. But I wanted to touch on PCOS because that is a huge, huge thing with women.
Young women too.
Let's make sure we hit on PCOS so the guy can actually polycystic ovarian syndrome, because the guys were like, hold on, did she just say pico de gallo? No, we did not say pico. PCOS.
PCOS, right. And that's becoming that's becoming a very popular diagnosis right now.
Yep.
And
Why?
it's very inaccurate for a lot of people, I would just like to say. I know that from personal experience.
I have no experience with it personally, just so you know.
Yeah.
I've never had it, can't judge.
So your ovaries have never had any sort of, okay. All right.
No
just checking on the health of your ovaries. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Shanna. Hit us up.
So that's something that was very common in my family. So every woman in my family, other than my older sister who just hit 40, has had PCOS to the point of having a full hysterectomy in their 40s from endometriosis. Every single one, grandparents or grandmothers, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody. Everybody knows my backstory. If you don't, maybe I'll do a new video on it, because the other one I was scatterbrained. But anyway, I had a full hysterectomy at 25 from stage 4 endometriosis and PCOS. So it's something, that's a lot of it they call estrogen dominance, everything. So what that is it's the toxins that are blocking the binding site for the estrogen. So then your body produces too much estrogen. It doesn't know what to stop because it's not absorbing it. Then you have the different ovarian cysts and everything that happen with it. But it comes down to toxicity of the endocrine system, of the ovaries and the fallopian tube. Then it goes systemically, it goes up into the thyroid and different things. But you've got to get the mercury especially out for PCOS. It's one of the other things that comes together with just toxicity, but I wanted to make sure that since it's so common, that we went ahead and highlighted it today.
Right. Excellent. Okay, so I think we've covered in a very general way, but that's all it really needs to be. Everything from puberty to menopause, and the bottom line, the etiology of all of this is toxicity. A lot of it is mercury, a lot of it is heavy metal, a lot of glyphosate, but and I know we're going to get this. Well, how do I test for that? Well, I mean, you can. There are a lot of ways to test for it. We're happy to do that. We're happy to lead you in the right direction. But the question is, do you really need to test for it? We're polluted. It's the post I did the other day with the really messy, disgusting room. That's great. You want to know what the stain is that's on the floor, that's on the carpet, and did it get to the hardwood floor? You know what? You've got a whole lot of cleanup to do before you even get to what that stain is and what's underneath of that carpet. So just get started. You need to start detoxing from all of the mercury and the glyphosate and everything that we know that we are exposed to every day. The fluoride, the flame retardants, every chemical that you're using to clean your house and your candles and everything. It's all leading to toxicity in your body.
And you have to detox from it. You have to, not just detox, you have to eliminate it. That's the difference with clean slate from other things. It's actually an elimination. It's not just detox, because there's no way around it. You're not going to get away from it. You can't.
Right.
So it's imperative.
I'm going to bring up the last subject I want to hit on pertaining to women's health.
Go ahead.
We hit on so much, but there's one thing that's missing. And I gave it a pause because this is actually serious, but I'm going to hit on it from a little more fun aspect, because it's been one thing that I've seen, and I think unfortunately I will argue every woman has dealt with it in some aspect over her life, and that is PTSD and negative emotion. You can go with depression, anxiety, PTSD, and such. And there is trauma and emotional trauma, spiritual trauma. Here's the one thing you have to understand with this, and this is unfortunately, because of how this world is, that we live in Satan's playground. And I live by a spiritual and religious creed of walk, teach, and heal, because my model taught me that, because that's what he did. My whole role is to act Christ-like, right? But if that offends you, you need more clean slate and zero in. But what's important is that we live in an environment that is absolutely horrible towards women, whether it's body shaming, especially now with social media and how kids are with one another. There's trauma that comes with that. There's experiences that you endure as a child that are traumatic. You have relationships that are toxic. You have abuse. Very few guys I've ever talked to have actually been abused in a relationship. Talk to women, 8 out of 10, right? At some point, even one instance is enough to traumatize you. Because here's the big issue. Mercury, lead, aluminum are neurotoxic. They're also positively charged. Mercury is +3, right? Is the strongest. And this is also why clinoptilolite is so unique, because it is negatively charged and has the ability to grab onto and attract and bind these toxins. But you have to look at the flip side of the coin. Negative emotions, trauma, bind and are held by mercury and other neurotoxic heavy metals. So what does that mean? If you have a traumatic experience, if you have a bad experience, those negative emotions, that negative trauma doesn't go away. It will eat at you because the mercury is going to hold on to it. It's not going to let it go because that's how bad this stuff is. Once again, I watched my language so I could properly enunciate. That's why you can have issues and it doesn't go away. It constantly feeds on the negativity. That's why you can have a history of poor decision making in relationships, because the resonance of the past doesn't leave. Mm-hmm. You have to detox emotionally, spiritually, physically. Say hello to your little friend, because the removal of the mercury, the lead, the aluminum from areas where those emotions are sequestered. Now, here's the funny part. You talk to people in Ayurveda, you talk to naturopaths, you know where they tell you anger comes from? The liver.
Liver.
Why? Because your liver is a filter. Metals, mercury, lead, aluminum, other toxic metals are stored in your liver. Primary cause of fatty liver. Who has fatty liver? Well, statistics show that 30% of the United States has it. Are you one of 3? 3 million people a year, new people are diagnosed with fatty liver, non-alcoholic fatty liver. Throw in a little alcohol and they're like, oh, well, you know, it's caused by alcohol. So that's another portion of the population. But it's these metals, it's the mercury, the lead, and the aluminum that cause the toxic liver that creates the anger. Why? Because it's the negative emotion that's stored in those that expresses throughout your system.
Yep.
So what we're talking about is not just the physical detoxification to take care of all of your diagnoses, but the spiritual and emotional detoxification that I would argue is even more important than anything you can do physically. Because when you're able to let go of the past, you're able to create and manifest your future as it is intelligently designed. We are not born with a freaking backpack. You're not supposed to carry all of that stuff with you. Mm-hmm. That's why we teach our kids, look, be like a duck, let it wash off, right? But guess what? We're not water repellent like a duck is. We're toxic. We store all that stuff. So what do? You got to get it out.
Yep.
You got to clean out what's storing. You got to take the backpack off. Just set that aside. You don't need it. So that's the one thing that I would say is even more important. And we get to this at the end, which is the best part, because you always have to wait to the end for the conclusion. You go through all the physical stuff. The most important thing you will experience, and this is why it's the Trinity, right? You have clean slate. Product. You have restore. And you have zero in, which I don't have in front of me because I took all my capsules. That's why they're combined together, because dopamine, serotonin, and the decalcified pineal gland allow you to light up and allow you to process all that negative stuff out and let go of it. And it's okay to let go. It's not part of you. You don't need it. You know, and one of the things I've heard from so many women of all different ages in the last year and a half are thank yous because of being able to eliminate trauma from the past, abusive relationships, you know. And here's one thing I will tell you. My wife is quite arguably the most dynamic person I've ever met. Man, woman, alien, whatever. She's no different. My wife endured abuse that I would never wish upon most people. There are some that I actually would wish that level of abuse upon, but that's a different conversation. What women endure is like nothing men can ever comprehend or understand. And you don't have to carry that. It's okay to let it go. And are we the only approach to doing that? No. But I will tell you, we are a foundation that will allow you to do it in addition to whatever you want to do along with it. But it will do things that have never been done before, that will allow you to function at a level of which you never dreamed of because you never thought you could get rid of that. And I will tell you it's possible. And that is all. My mic is on a screen.
Let's end on this. Yes. Can you take clean slate daily for life?
As long as you want to be breathing.
Mic drop, boom.
Mic drop.
All right. We've got to let Clayton go because he's got to go to the Q&A. So join him on the Q&A right after this. The link is in the comments. Thank you guys all for being with us.
Yes, thank you. Another wonderful Tuesday. Thank you so much, Clayton, for being with us, for taking your time to be with us. What a great conversation. Super excited. Can't wait to follow you to the next hour.
Oh, it's going to get interesting. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.